The psychic surgical methodology can also be applied to techniques of enlightenment. The master, our teacher, will be able to train the student in methods of helping others to attain their enlightenment as well. Therefore, in these procedures, the student is actually learning to become the teacher. It's a process that is eternal and part of the entire teaching and learning process. Therefore, the student has to sort of remember everything so they can reverse engineer their training as they train others when they become the master teachers. And the apprentice is also in a position to be able to improve upon the methods and to document particular methods and take different procedures into different directions. So there's a lot of opportunity for the apprentice to investigate different ways in which they are going to become masters in the particular skill sets they were going to want to pursue to become the masters. In the idea or the procedure for learning to become a master, the apprentice will go through a series of mental or intellectual challenges which are based on the learning curve of the student or apprentice, and these challenges present the student with a particular set of problems which have to be solved. And the set of problems are particular to the training they are in, and the teacher needs to be able to take them through the set without much distraction. So this is not a easy type of task to do in say online or such, because it requires a particular concentration and guidance by the teacher in these methods. Knowing the student is part of the teacher's responsibility, and learning about the student through their own abilities is some of the first things they need to do when encountering and accepting a student in this process. The master will, of course, have an ongoing relationship with the student that will develop from the moment they begin, and may have began or before that through other contact. The intention of the relationship is most important as it starts, so that the intention to fulfill a particular goal or mission is the first part when undertaking one of these exercises. And some of the initial exercises of a psychic surgeon have nothing to do with surgery or the body, and are more of a particular form of learning or education which has to occur in any discipline in order that the apprentice learn what needs to be done in order to accomplish what they want. Therefore, the teacher and the apprentice have to agree upon a schedule that allows this type of progress to occur. The apprentice's knowledge base needs to be increased if the apprentice is going to become a master in a certain amount of time that is usually has to be condensed because of other reasons. So the apprentice would have to, as well as make plans to have an intensive type of training, as well as the teacher would also, or the master. So retreats and such are ideal situations for an orderly form of unfoldment of ability. The knowledge base that the student needs to obtain can be obtained partially through books and explanations of the entire process, such as reading descriptions such as this description of the process. Yet the entire teaching has to be done in a real world way, and the intelligence or the information has to be passed on in a manner which is most easily called telepathic, or passed on through lineage. And it's a type of information that the user doesn't necessarily have to know. Now it's 6 a.m. in the morning. The process of enlightening the student or the apprentice can occur over a certain amount of time so that the apprentice is able to digest or understand what is occurring. The training levels that are available to the apprentice depend upon their base point of knowledge and understanding and ability. Therefore, if they have a base of knowledge of the subject and also, say, alternate types of experience that give them an insight, then they may be on their way to being a more advanced student sooner than others with no understanding or insight into these technologies. As any type of learning experience, this requires a type of patience and perseverance and faith that there is going to be an unfoldment of knowledge that is going to be available to the student as time unfolds. So the student needs to be patient as well. And being an apprentice means having a knowledge that you are going to learn when you're ready to learn, and it's not always easy to adjust yourself to the higher learning or have the teacher make the time to be able to do this kind of work with you or for you. And essentially, understanding is a type of unfoldment that takes time, and in the unfoldment of particular concepts and procedures take explanations, and doing this with a student takes time. And to be able to have these types of procedures explained in a meaningful way so that they are understandable and reproducible by the student, and actually the student can teach these to other students, means that the example was of good form. The knowledge that the student is entitled to learn is dependent upon the relationship the student has with the master or the teacher, and it's usually based on a monetary type of arrangement or a more family type of arrangement that is based on a tradition. In any case, the obligations of the student and the teacher are profound, and the obligations to each other are also great. In the unfoldment of the student's abilities, the student has to be able to prepare their mind for a body of knowledge that exceeds their present body of knowledge. This body of knowledge may not in any way be understandable at first or even perceptible, and the problem that the student may have is that it is all very vague, obscure, and doesn't really seem to have much cohesiveness at first. And this is because the student may not have had the actual training in the knowledge yet. So having the knowledge and having the training in the knowledge and actually grokking the knowledge, as the Heinlein book said, is different kinds of concepts. And the understanding of these particular procedures is part of a legacy and part of a tradition that allows the student to be able to use this knowledge in their life and to pass this knowledge on as it is intended to be. This knowledge is a shared knowledge, and it is shared between people and between spirits throughout time. This knowledge extends beyond our own world, and it is a type of knowledge of life and existence and being. The student has a particular need to be curious in order to be able to unfold other talents that a teacher may not have readily available to teach. Like if they are in pursuit of a particular healing skill or a knowledge set, they have to chance out and find that information themselves. Because in most cases, because of our experience as individuals, we may be masters at one or other things, but we can't be masters at it all. And until there is another conference of masters of healing, then there can be no real agreement and no broad perspective of this entire potential field of study. In ancient times, the best scholars in the Vedic world gathered in the construction or writing of books and setting up of schools of healing. And indeed, that needs to be returned to with the forms of light body healing, which are practiced in various forms, yet the true arts have been neglected or forgotten or lost. And lost is probably the problem here, because the literature is not especially full of instances of this type of technology. And it may be possible that it was isolated and lost in a particular strata of space and time. The uncovering of knowledge in this database, in this stratabase, has a particular implication for the furthering of knowledge in our time, because the transmission of knowledge can occur over the centuries and over thousands of years, as is possible and being demonstrated. The connection to be able to learn from others is the connection of the teacher or the master and the apprentice or the student. So these types of relationships are such that it allows the student to be able to access a teaching and database that extends through time. And as they are able to learn these other techniques, they're able to extend themselves through space and time as well. And their consciousness becomes part of the continuum, and they have knowledge at their ready at all times, dependent upon the connections and associations and alliances they make for the particular types of knowledge they are in pursuit of. The framework of knowledge is already built, and it is existing or has existed for thousands or perhaps millions of years, and it is only our understanding of this database of knowledge that gives us the ability to use it in our own particular existence, which is our human existence. And in our existence as humans, we have the ability to use our body to generate forces, light forces, from our body and from our auric emanations from the aura and the energy body that is produced by the living body or is associated with the living body, and therefore it is possible to establish the energy fields or the energy portals necessary to create the healing environment that makes possible the faith or miraculous healings. Therefore, the training of the apprentice involves the training of the apprentice's body, their mind, their emotion, their spirit, their soul. It is entirely an entire process for the apprentice, because they are entirely immersed in the entire experience of becoming a light body being, and associating their being with their physical being is the challenge. And being able to take the time to be light body aware means that the person cares about their influence in the spirit realm as well as their physical presence. Given that, they do have certain obligations to be nice bodies, nice spirit bodies, nice light bodies, and not to cause mischief out there. And to be careful out there as well, because it is a big world. And the light world is one in which people have abilities that you don't have in this world. And so learning to be a light body person or light body active means that you have to be physically active in this body, in this world, in this space and time. And that's why the attention to this body is necessary for the apprentice. And the apprentice's challenge to be able to be physically fit, mentally aware, emotionally balanced, and having one's spirit focused in the higher realms means that they're ready for this type of light body training and apprenticeship. The light body apprentice has many challenges, yet the rewards are just as great, and the rewards are taken in a particular type of order so that the light body aspirant or student has to be able to accept that they are going through stages and not to expect more than maybe they're ready for, more than they have time for. And the particular types of inspiration or knowledge, enlightenment that are available at these different levels are of course dependent on the individual aspirants or the apprentice's ability to pass tests at these different levels. And these tests are already set up, and the teacher may inform the student and show them how to take the test and eventually take the test and observe the student taking the test. So the methods of taking the test are known and taught, and taking the test is a part that has to be observed and actually awarded a certain type of certificate of accomplishment. The accomplishments of the student are necessary, and the acknowledgement of the accomplishments of the students are necessary so that they can do and know exactly what they are able to do and the wider scope of their mission. And what that implies is that the knowledge set is such that it is so vast that they need to be able to, like in any other school or educational situation, be able to have the particular day and talent that they're learning cataloged in their calendar and in their knowledge set database. And then that has to be reviewable by themselves and those that they are going to be able to show and demonstrate these skills to. And it should be possible for the apprentice to learn and memorize these types of skills and skill sets, so as when they become teachers they can pass these on and know exactly what is necessary in that set of skills and procedures.